If you study something totally different and today you want to get into tech, this video is for you. My name is Godwin Okwe. I read microbiology at the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, where I graduated with a CGPA of 4.49. My expectations were that after graduation, after youth service, I'll get a job as a microbiologist and then go for my master's, become a lecturer, and continue from there. But life had other plans. Today, I am a software engineer, and in this video I want to walk you through the process of transitioning into tech if this is something that appeals to you. How did I start? 3 years ago, I knew nothing about HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I didn't know about some social media platforms like Slack, like Discord. No, I never heard about Stack Overflow, the social media platforms that I was aware of, things like Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, and the rest. But there were more, and I didn't know because I was not in that line. When I started, the first thing was the decision. Microbiology was not working for me. I graduated as a microbiologist, but I was working. First, I started teaching in a school. I was teaching mathematics and basic technology. I was teaching, and eventually COVID-19 struck, and we had to stay at home because I was in Abuja at the time. We had to stay at home. And staying at home now meant that the salary was halved. We were teaching online. They said we were going to be teaching online. So we'll make videos and post them, and the students will download those videos and watch. So those were the things we were doing just to keep them engaged. But the salary was no longer 100%. It was now 50%. And that continued until somewhere around May of 2020. When my friend, whom we studied microbiology together, Peter Oklogo, called me one evening that I should send my CV because there was an opening that someone linked in with. The person said if he has someone else, he could collect the person's CV. So I sent my CV, and that was how we were scheduled for an interview. And eventually we got the job as monitoring and evaluation assistants with a Nigerian NGO. But we came in as ad hoc staff. We came in with high hopes. What we thought or what we hoped was that we were coming in as ad hoc, but with time we were going to become full staff. That was the hopes we had, but it was not coming forth. It was not the way we hoped it was going to be. Because when we came on board, we discovered that there was really no structure to transition from ad hoc to staff. So you cannot say if I am an ad hoc for say 2-3 years, then I'll become a staff. There's nothing like that. Becoming a staff as an ad hoc is more like a chance event. And it's something that may happen, it may not happen. It was at that point that I began to think that I need to change my plans, change my strategies, because hoping that I was going to become a staff and then with better pay and probably better living conditions might not just be the best thing to do. That was when the focus on tech came in. As at then, I was already 30 years old. So I figured going back, starting to learn something that 15-year-olds, 18-year-olds were very good at, it looked somehow. It was as if I felt I was already too old to go and start learning something afresh. But a couple of friends advised me, and I'm glad that I actually took the advice and I started. So I started with HTML. I was very lucky that I had a team, Zuri team. They were organizing a training for people that wanted to go into tech. So that was my first entry point into tech. It was supposed to be a full stack course where they teach you HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and back end with Python. And they specifically focused on Django. That was the plan. So we started the course, and it was beginning to make sense to me. I was beginning to enjoy the process because my thought process was now changing. So I was now seeing myself as someone who could also create something instead of just being a consumer. So now I had an idea of what goes on behind the scene of a website, of an application, and that helped me to become more interested in the whole process of tech. Although, like I said, my original goal, or my original motivation, was an opportunity to earn more. But when I got into it, I began to see that besides that opportunity to earn more lies that fulfillment that comes with building something, with doing something worthwhile. And that was what kept me going. So from Zuri, we graduated. Zuri training was supposed to be something about three months thereabout. And after Zuri, I started hearing about HNG internship, right? So HNG internship, we heard, was very tedious. It was very fast paced. It was not for beginners. But some of the tutors at Zuri told us that we were no longer beginners since we already had that 3 months course. During the 3 months course, we built a project, and we were grouped into teams. And my team built a website. Well, initially we were thinking we were going to build an API and then a front end, but we did not have sufficient knowledge as at that time to build an API. So we decided to just do a monolithic website with Django. So we used Django and then HTML and stuff. So that was how we were able to build the website. It was very basic, but it helped us to demonstrate that yes, we had gained something from the course. Building on what we had, the knowledge we had from Zuri, I applied to HNG internship. And when HNG internship started, truly, like they said, it was fast paced and it wasn't so beginner friendly. But because we already had an idea from Zuri of how to ask or how to look for information, it became easier for me to fit in. At HNG, we are shared into teams, and each team is supposed to go through a series of projects, and eventually the finalists will get to stage 10, then they become the finalists. So not everybody gets to stage 10. Some as a team, they are dropped. Some as individuals, they are unable to meet up with one or two tasks that are given to them, and they are dropped along the way. But I got to the last stage because my team was able to build a functional app. Now I had that experience from Zuri and from HNG, and as I was finishing HNG, that was when I heard about ALX Software Engineering. It's a 12-month program, and I was discouraged because I felt I cannot do a 12-month program. For me to do a 12-month program, that means you have to be consistently online for 12 months. To be consistently online for 12 months, you need to have data. So I was looking at the limitations, that I may not be able to cope with this, I may not be able to continue this, I may not be able to complete it, and stuff like that. But because some people that we finished HNG together were talking about ALS and how it is good, I decided to also try it out. And at the time, it was free. It was free because we were given scholarship. So we came in, and that was when my mindset completely changed. ALX for me was the game changer, because before ALX, I was learning how to do things with tools. So how to do this, how to do that. But it was at ALX that I understood why we were doing what we were doing. It was at ALX that I understood the basics of all that we were doing. We were building functions, but it was at ALX that I understood the core of functions. It was at ALS I understood object-oriented programming properly, because we started from the beginning. We started with C, a lower level language, and starting with C helped me to understand all that is going on. The memory management, print and all that, the whole lot of things that were going on behind the scene helped the programming in C helped me to be able to grasp those fundamentals. And from C we graduated to Python. From Python we moved on to JavaScript until we finished the foundation. And then after we finished the foundation, we were supposed to pick a specialization. So I chose the back-end specialization. And at the back-end specialization, we're working with both Python and JavaScript. But for some personal reasons, I focused more on Python. And that is why I am more proficient in Python programming as a back-end specialist. So while I was at ALX also, I dabbled into mobile development with Flutter. I became quite interested in mobile development because I like the concept of mobile apps. I want to know how mobile apps are built and how I can also build one. So the first mobile app I built was a Catholic hymn book app. I built it and I decided to go all the way to deploy it on Play Store. And to my surprise, I was having, I think as at the last count, before I had an issue with that account and the developer account was terminated, I was having more than 20,000 downloads of that particular app. And from there I built another app, another hymn book app, but this time a different hymn book, Rejoice in the Lord. And Rejoice in the Lord was having more than 2,000 downloads, and I was happy because now I see that I was no longer just someone that uses applications. I am now someone that builds applications that people use. Because I went to a particular place and someone was using the Rejoice in the Lord and we were gisting. I didn't even know that I was the one that built the app. And I was happy with myself that someone that I have never met was using an application that I developed. Those were the things that motivated me, that kept me going despite the challenges. So how can you get into tech? One of the first things you will need to do is to choose your tech path. There are different aspects of tech. I didn't know much about tech then, so I only knew about software development. I didn't know that there are different aspects like UI UX design. I didn't know about product management. I didn't know about data analysis. I didn't know about tech sales, tech marketing. I didn't know about Web3. There are different aspects. So the first thing you want to do is to pick one, because when you want to be a generalist, you oftentimes you not master one. It's just like they say, jack of all trades, master of none, right? So the best thing to do is to pick one path. But most importantly is to know why. Why do you want to go into tech? Is it for the money? Is it for passion? You can go into tech for money. Like I told you, my initial motivation was money. But now I get more fulfillment even beyond money. So have a why you want to go into tech, because that is what will fuel your journey. That is what will help you to keep going even when you are tired, because eventually at some point you will be tired. At some point you feel like you're doing too much, because at some point I was not having free time. Weekends, normal people were watching movies at weekends. And unfortunately for me, weekends were the time that I spent more time working on applications, debugging and doing stuff like that. I stay up longer than others. Sometimes I stay up to 3 a.m. Sometimes I stay at work longer than other colleagues because I needed to have access to power, because I was staying in a place where power supply was very poor. So sometimes I stay back at work to use the solar system, stay late into the night. Those things are not easy, but because I knew why I wanted to do that, because I had a strong reason why I am going into tech, it became easier for me to endure and continue. There are different resources you can use after you've chosen your path. You can use YouTube. YouTube has a lot of resources on software, on product management, on UI and the rest. But I would personally recommend that you join a structured learning platform like ALX, for example, or Alt School, for example, and the rest, because having that structure helps you to have a progressive learning. You are not just jumping into things. You are moving from A to B and not from A to D or A to F and jumping things in between, which is what you will likely get if you were to focus solely on YouTube. But if you don't have the money to enroll in those courses, there are courses on Udemy also that you can enroll in that are a little bit cheaper. But the disadvantage of that also is that you are not having someone to grade you, you are not having deadlines to meet, and sometimes it becomes very easy for you to just give up and stop. But if you have a structure, if you have someone that is checking up on you, whether you've done your assignment, whether you've done the project, at ALS we had something we call checker, and then we have Kimber, right? So the checker ensures that your code is working properly and that it meets certain requirements, and Kimber ensures that you did not copy the code from somewhere. So you see that with that structure, it was easier for me to stay put and concentrate and finish whatever I needed to finish, because if you don't meet a particular threshold, you can't move on to the next phase and stuff like that. Structure is very, very important. But like I said, if you don't have the means for that, you can also use the free resources. We have YouTube, we have a free code camp and the rest. But if you can, I recommend that you have a structured learning. And another thing, you face a lot of challenges. One of the challenges I faced, like I said, was that first, that doubt. Can I learn this? The people that are in tech, that are doing well in tech, they seem to have a background in computer science. But I don't have a background in computer science. I'm a science student, of course, but I did not read computer science. So I was thinking that I would not fit in. So there is always that self-doubt, that feeling that you are not good enough to be in tech. But I tell you, you can and you will if you put in the effort. How do you upgrade your skills? Like I said, focus on one thing. Learn it for the duration that is necessary. Don't jump into different aspects. Jump into different aspects will slow down your growth. But if you focus on one thing, then you'll be able to grow more. And another most important thing is that don't stay stuck in learning mode. It is very easy to just keep watching tutorials and keep watching tutorials, but you learn more when you start building. When I built the first app, I didn't have as much knowledge of Flutter as I needed, but I started, and starting now helped me to keep improving the app, keep learning more, and because I already have something to use, learning became easier. So don't stay waiting until you get to the end before you build projects. Another mistake I made that I would encourage that you don't make it is that I did not talk about my learning. I was not posting about what I was learning. My LinkedIn was blank. My Twitter, I'll just go to Twitter, or X as it is called now. I'll just go there and read up stuff. I was only reading. I was only reading stuff. I was never posting anything. I was not posting anything relating to what I was doing. And that is not the way to learn tech. In this current age, we are no longer in the age where you learn, you graduate and start applying. These days, it is content, it is visibility that is more important than, sometimes more important than the skills, to be frank. As you are learning, be visible. Let people know that you are learning this. Let people know that you can do this. Talk about it, so that when, even before you graduate, you could get a gig, you could get a job. You could go on and start making the money that you came into tech to make. So keep talking about what you are building. Don't wait till you finish. Don't wait till you graduate. I needed to stress that. And then you need to build projects. Build projects that have impact. You probably have noticed one problem or one challenge or the other, and you figure that you could build something around it. go ahead and build it. So how do you get the gigs? How do you get the money? The money can come in different aspects. You can get a full employment. You could become a freelancer on platforms like Upwork. There are a lot of persons that are making a lot of money from Upwork as freelancers, freelancing their software engineering or their tech skills, as the case may be. So you could also get on Upwork, show your skills, show your proficiency through the projects that you have built, and you start getting gigs from there. And there are videos on how you can succeed on Upwork. That is one of the way. Another way is by, like I said, posting about what you do on X and on LinkedIn. There are people that have gained jobs from those platforms just by talking about what they do. So go ahead and talk about it, and you also get gigs from there. Those are the ways you get into tech. So just a quick recap. Have a strong reason why you want to get into tech. Pick a path in tech that you want to follow. If you want to do front end, focus on front end solely. You can add back end later on, but don't do both at the same time. Or if you want to focus on back end, focus on that solely for the main time and add others thereafter. If you want to go into mobile development, there are different aspects. You can do mobile development with Flutter. You can do mobile development with Swift, Kotlin, React Native, and stuff like that. Pick one, focus on it, build projects on it, become better, and from there, the sky is your limit. If you like this type of content, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, because I'll be dropping videos like this from time to time. And if you have any questions, if you are stuck on something in your tech journey, you can always reach out to me through the link in the description of this video. Drop your comments and I'll be glad to attend to them. Thank you for watching.